Hi all, welcome to part 7, module 2, logic system design. So what we've seen so far is something about the so-called Boolean algebra and its properties, postulates, some of the important theorem. Right now we move on to a very small topic, that is Boolean functions. So this also I explained in the previous video lectures. Now you can recollect the things, right? So what is written? Boolean algebra is an algebra that deals with the binary variables. So we already seen, right? So you can see binary variables, say x, y, like that, and logical operations, right? Binary variable are those which assume two value. So if I'm saying that x is a binary variable, what does it mean? X can assume either 0 or 1, right? So at any point, right? But in normal case it can, if I'm saying it is a decimal variable, it can assume any decimal number, but here it is any binary bit will be assumed by the binary variable. Now what about the logical operation? So this AND operation, how it is working, OR operation, negation operation, these many things we saw so far, and similar way we may define in future, like XOR, NAND, and other operation. And these are what we call as the logical operation, right? So it's not like arithmetic operation, the normal arithmetic addition, subtraction, and all. So here it is purely dealing with the 0 and 1. So we call them as logical operation. In C and all, you are familiar with the term, right? Now the Boolean function. Now we have a term called, so far we saw Boolean expressions as well as Boolean equations, right? Now we are using something called a Boolean function, and from mathematics what is a function. So it's a kind of mapping, right? So from one set to another set. So that means, can I say all, the mapping, simply it is a relation, and relation with certain restrictions is what is a function, right? So why this I can call a Boolean expression to be a Boolean function? Because it is described by an algebraic expression consisting of binary variable. Any Boolean algebraic expression, there will be a set of binary variable x, y, like that. In theorem, postulates, and all, we saw it, right? And of course sometimes we will use, instead of variable, we will use 0 and 1 directly, and that time it is a constant. Then the logical operation symbols, and you can see that for a given value of binary variable, that x, y, z, the for binary variable assign some value, I mean 0 and 1. If I have 3 variable, 2 or 3 combinations are possible, right? So one of the combination, one of the instance, you can see that the function is evaluating, or the expression is evaluating that entire thing to some 1 or 0. So you can visualize it like a function. So still, if somebody is having doubt, let me take a small example and explain to you. So the hope you remember, say I'm talking about some expression, say y is equal to say x plus x dash, or x plus y x dash. Okay, let me take it like that. So this is my expression. So maybe I can use a different variable for storing the result. The result I am storing into z, and the expression I am having is x plus y z. So what I am writing, x plus y x dash. I don't want to increase the number of variables. Still it will work, right? So you can see that you can visualize this z as a function of x and y, right? Now I have two variable x and y, and I have a function of two variable, and that result I am representing by z, right? Now see what is going to happen, x and y. As it is two variable, it is easy for me, that is why I taken. What is going to happen for the function? The truth table method, right? So the different possible values of x and y are like, I can assume 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. I can assume four different values for this x and y. Yes, x and y are two Boolean variables, and they are assuming these many values. Then what is our output is said, but to calculate this is said, this entire expression is to be evaluated. So for simplicity, what I am doing is I am trying to see what is this x dash, because I want to know what is x dash, right? Then I will evaluate the y x dash. Y x dash means I have to perform AND operation between this y and x dash, right? Then what I will do, I will find out z. So now my z is nothing but perform OR operation with this x and this y x dash, right? X plus y x dash. like that I will get the final result. So these two things are intermediate value, just for the easiness I am doing this. So if this is my x, what will be my x dash? So just a complement of it, right? So 0 become 1, right? 0 become 1. I hope you are very comfortable with it so far. If still any difficulty, you ask me in the class. I mean discussion session, because in same thing you done in proportional logic also, where that's if it is true you replaced with false, right? So that complementation operation, the 0 complement is 1, right? This 1 1 becomes 0 0, right? Now you have to perform the AND operation between this y and x dash, right? So these two columns you consider and perform AND operation. So the result will be 0 and 1 is 0, 1 and 1 is 1, 0 and 0 is 0, 1 and 0 is 0. Hope you remember the table. Now finally this x and y x dash, I mean this column, right, and this column together, right? These two things you have to perform the final thing. That means this column you consider and this column you consider. So that is x and y x dash together you perform OR operation. So the final result I am representing with this color. See what is answer. Or operation only. So 0 or 0. If inputs are like a 0 1, or will give you 1, 1 0, or will give you 1, 1 0, or will give you 1. So this is the final answer I am getting, right? So this is the final output I am getting. Now you can see that how can you visualize it as a function? That is my question. So what you can do is, function means so it's a kind of mapping between two sets, right? So one set I am having all these elements, so I am defining one set something like this, where I am putting all input to combination like 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. And I have another set, let me call it as set A. Simply I am denoting some notation. And B is another set where this, the function is always mapping the entire expression to a value that is 0 or 1. That is what you seen, right? 0 or 1. Now how the function looks like, this particular function. So I am having a function from A to B. So A to B, and at A I have elements like 0 0 is a single element. Okay, so 0 1 is another element, like that you assume 1 0 is another element, 1 1 is another element, and at other side the elements of the set are like a 0 and 1. Now you can observe that this particular function, so what it is. So I have a function from A to B, and that function is nothing but this is z, that is x plus y x dash, right? So this function is actually this values 0 0 0 1 are nothing but the different values of x and y. So accordingly it is doing the mapping, and you can see that when I am giving value for x and y as 0 0, the function is mapping for 0 0. I am getting a mapping like this, right? So what was my mapping? So 0 0, this is my mapping, right? So you can see that when the input is 0 0, the function is mapping to 0. Okay. Similarly, when the input is 0 1, right? See, observe this second row. See, input is 0 1, the function result is 1, this one, right? You can see that 0 1, the function is mapping to 1. And similarly, observe here 1 0, it is mapping to 1. Here also it is mapping to 1. 1 1, here also it is mapping to 1. See, now you can check is it a function or not. You hope you remember a relation, or when you can call a relation as function. For every element in the domain, there should be a unique image in the codomain, right? And no element in domain is left with no image. So those two rules you hope you remember in relation and function. So those things are satisfied, because definitely I will get a mapping for any input instance, like whether it is 0 0 0 1 1 0. I know what the function is going to evaluate. That will be 0. And if I am assigning 0 0, it is never going to give you the result as 0 as well as 1. So there will not be anything like a 1 to many. That is not going to happen. So that kind of a restriction what we are having for the function, right? Now a very important question I am going to ask. We may see it later also, but at this point I thought of asking. Then can you tell me how many functions are possible from A to B? I don't know whether you remember the reason and all. So it's a counting kind of question I am asking. From A to B, how many functions are possible? Suppose the cardinality of A is, say, some m, and cardinality of B, set B is n. So A is containing m elements and B is containing n elements. So the number of functions from A to B is found to be the cardinality of n rise to cardinality of m. I don't know how many of you remember. Well, let me quickly tell you the reason also. Suppose I have, so it is a very simple counting argument I can have. The A is containing how many elements? A is containing elements like m elements are there. Let me denote like x1, x2, etc. Some xm elements are there. Now B is containing some n elements, say y1, y2, etc. yn. My question is like how many totally how many functions are possible from A to B. So you know how to make a function. So how you will be getting a function. To get a function, you know, you have to give a image for x1, and you should give a image for x1. Now how many options are with you for x1? I can either map x1 to y1, or I can map x1 to y2, or I can map x1 to y3, etc. I can map x1 to yn. So I have a n possibility, right? Y1 to yn, any or one of them can be given as a mapping for x1. So just by looking at x1, what we observed is there are n possible mapping for x1, and I will fix one of the mapping for the time being. Let me assume, so I am just randomly picking, say, y2 as a mapping for x1. Okay, now the question is, now how many choices left with x2? How many possibilities are there for x2? X2 can be mapped with the y1, right? Can I map x2 with the y2 again? Is it allowed in function? Yes, it's allowed, right? The only restriction for function is one to many is not allowed. If once I assign x1 to y2, I can't assign x1 itself to some other element. That is not allowed, but this many to 1 is fine, right? So this is allowed actually. So how many options are left, means remaining for x2? That is my question. So after giving one of the image, the same image can be reused or any other element. I mean, still that n possibility are there for x2. So if that is the case, x3 also will get all the n possibility, and the last element xm will also get n possibility. So totally how many possibilities are there? N into n into n into n, m times, right? N into etc. n. How many terms are there? M terms, right? So this is nothing but I'm going in backward direction like Arabic, right? Okay, sorry for that. So this many functions are possible. I just tried a quick derivation for it. Okay, so I just tried a quick derivation for the total number of functions possible. Now the question is, see here, what we observed is, I have a function here. So this is one of the function possible using the variable x and y, right? One of the function possible using the variable x and y is this x plus y x dash. Can you think about a different function for using x and y? You can have anything like x plus y, it's a function. Another mapping, another function, say x plus y plus xy dash, right? Or maybe you can make it complex and all, like that. Okay, xy, it's another function. So like that, you may feel like you can have infinite number of function, but it is not like that. Even though you are making some bigger expressions, say I am writing a function like randomly, I am picking a function, say f5 x plus y x, just use only two variable, that is a requirement. X plus y x plus x dash y, like that I can add any number of term. But you know, even though it is looking very complex function, it is you can simplify it to a very smaller function. We will see how to simplify bigger function to smaller one. That is one thing. And finally you will get some unique number of function, right? So the question is like, using two variable x and y, how many Boolean algebraic expressions are possible? How many Boolean algebraic expressions are possible, or each expression corresponds to a function? So we now clearly know how many functions are possible. So can you link that concept, and can you find out how many functions are possible from using two Boolean algebraic variables. So that is my question. Is that question clear? So just keep it in your mind. So what was my question? How many Boolean algebraic functions, I'm not using the term function because let me use Boolean algebraic expression. Okay, so and you know that each expression is nothing but a function, because the expression is mapping one of the input instance to 0 or 1. So you can visualize it like that. So how many Boolean algebraic expressions are possible using two Boolean algebraic, let me denote like that, variables? So that is my question. So now you can think about it. We will see the solution soon. Okay. So in between, I was little bit hurry, so I asked you this question. Okay, we will see the solution. So take it as homework something and try yourself. Okay, so if you are getting the answer and if it is matching with my solution, then you will be happy, right? So that's also a very simple solution. Now you know how many functions are possible from one set to another and the reason, and using two variable, how you can link. So it is a particular Boolean algebraic expression is a function from this. So if it is a two variable function, so here my question is two Boolean algebraic variables. So then you can, if you are able to find out the solution for it, you can answer it for three Boolean algebraic variable, of course. So you try to generalize it for n Boolean algebraic variables. So that is a general question. So just count how many elements are there in the domain. If there are n variable, that is nothing but how many rows are there in the truth table, that we can count it now itself. Okay, now we are reaching the solution. See, if I am having two variable, you know, 2 power 2 combinations are possible, right? If I am having three variable, hope you remember the tables and all. Three variable, here itself somewhere, see, here I have a three variable. You can assign values like 0 0 0 0 0 1 etc. Some 8 combination you can it's possible, right? You can see 4 plus 4, say 8 combination. So what is happening actually, if I have n variable, let me ask you that also, a very nice question. If I have a how many rows are there in truth table, right? Truth table of n variables. Same thing you saw in proportional logic also. So let me denote the variables like so my variables are like x1, x2, etc., xn. I have n variable. How many rows are there in the truth table? So you will keep assigning value for this variable, like let all of them be 0. Then you will start flipping the last bit, like 0 0 0 0 0 1. Like that you will proceed. And how many such rows are possible? That is my question, right? And you can see that it is for two variable, you saw that it is 2 power 2, right? I mean 4. For three variable, it is 2 power 3. So like that you can, by example, you can generalize, or let me tell you the reason. What is the reason for that? See, I have variable like x1, x2, etc., xn. How many possibilities are there for x1? Right, in the truth table, I can either assign 0 or 1 for x1. I mean, two choices are there for x1. Similarly, for x2, how many possibilities are there, or how many choices are there? 0 or 1. There are still two choices, right? Then, how many possibilities are there for xn? Again, 0 or 1. Two choices, right? So, altogether, how many possibilities are there for x1 to xn together? Multiplication rule, the answer will be 2 into 2, etc. into 2. Right? So, it is n terms will come, right? 2 power n. So this is a proof. So 2 power n rows are there in the truth table, and this 2 power n rows are nothing but, you can see that in if that is the case, this set A will contain, here set A is containing how many elements? 4 elements, right? This 4 elements. 4 is nothing but 2 power 2. So in general, if I have n variable, set A will contain 2 power n elements. So you know the cardinality of m. If it is n, you know the counter, right? Now the cardinality of A is known to you for Boolean algebraic expression. It is something 2 power n if I have n variable. Now what about the cardinality of B? Cardinality of B is always fixed, because the entire function is going to evaluate only two choices. It is the function is having, like it can evaluate the entire expression to 0 or 1. So it is just 2. Now from here to here, I mean, each I given you the solution. Maybe in a more detailed way we will see. So now tell me what is solution to this? How many Boolean algebraic expressions are possible from possible using n Boolean algebraic variable. So using n Boolean algebraic variable, in the truth table I can have a 2 power n entries, or 2 power n elements can be there. If I visualize the same thing as a function, the 2 power n elements can be there in the domain. That is my A here, right? 2 power n elements can be there in the domain. Now in the codomain I can have only 2 elements, right? So now I know that cardinality of domain and codomain 2 power n and 2. Now I know the count also, right? How many functions are possible from the first one to second one. See, I know the count, right? So the answer is cardinality of, you can see that this is n power m is nothing but, what is n? N is nothing but cardinality of B. The from A to B I am asking, rise to cardinality of A. So here also the answer will be cardinality of B rise to cardinality of A. So the answer is 2 raised to 2 raised to n. So this is what I was asking. I given you the answer also. Now you keep you can do yourself is you verify whether my answer is correct or not, like with some valid example. So say using two variable, as per my solution, how many functions are possible? 2 raised to 2 raised to 2, 2 raised to 2 raised to 2 is 16. So just verify using two variable just like this, f1, f2, f3, etc. Can I have only 16 functions, or can I have something new? So the question is how many Boolean. So now the question is not clear actually. How many unique? So let me use the term unique. So the same function you can express in different ways. For example, I have a function say f1 with x. X itself can be your Boolean algebraic expression, right? Now I have another function f2, say x plus x, and by idempotent law now, right, x plus x and x are same. Similarly, I have another function x plus x, that also same. So don't count it repeatedly. So the question is how many unique Boolean algebraic expressions are possible, or how many unique functions are possible, right? Hope it is clear right now. Still any doubt you can ask, and we will see this also we will verify, like if it is like f1, f2, etc., f16, we will see those 16 combinations so that it will be very clear in your brain. Okay. So this is very, very important concept from all the things we discussed so far. So what we seen is a given value for binary. The function can be evaluated to 1 or 0. So a function can be represented by a truth table also. We saw it, right? The number of rows in the truth table is 2 power n. Why it is so? Because for each variable n 2 choice. For n, where n is the number of variables in the function. Okay. Now a binary combination for the truth table. And in the truth table, the values are listed like 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, like that, right? So what is that 0, 0? It is 0, 0, 1, it is 1. 1, 0, the corresponding decimal value is 2. Then 1, 1, it is 3. So now you can see that if it is two variable, the binary, the equivalent decimal values are ranging from 0 to 3. For 3 variable, it will range from 0 to 7, right? For n variable, it will range from 0 to this, what is this 7? 2 power 3 minus 1. So for n variable, it is 2 power n minus 1, right? So the truth table is having values that is ranging from 0 to 2 power n minus 1. So those things will be represented in binary. Okay. Now a Boolean function can be transformed from a algebraic expression into a circuit diagram. So that is the last point. We are interested in Boolean function, switching algebra, all those things, because we need to implement the circuit, right? So we are more focused on the circuit design. So that is what is going to do the functionality for you in real world application, right? So the circuit, the expression you can convert to a circuit, the schematic of the circuit. The actual implementation, you have to use the physical devices like gates and all, and gate is nothing but composed of transistors and diodes, like that. So the particular logic circuit is composed of something called logical gates. I told you before, because and as a operation, and this operation you can implement using a physical device called an AND gate. Okay, so a gate is a physical device, the actual hardware we are having, that implement the same functionality. So we will see the notation and all. So we denote AND gate like this. This is something we saw already, and some output will be there. Some output to say is that something, some output of. So and what is this output? A dot B. right? So this physical device is going to do that for you. So whenever you are applying say 0 and 1, say for example, this output, this will be giving a 0 in the output, right? I mean a low in the output, something like that. So like that you can implement the gates. So many things we saw. So here it is given some two functions are given, f1 and f2. So this is your f1. It's not visible. See, this is your f1, and the truth table is given. See, they are directly calculating what is f1. What you have to do is you have to do it by yourself. You first evaluate what is y dash. From y you know how to calculate y dash, so there will be a column for y dash. Then you evaluate y dash and operation with z, something I think the same example we saw, but with the two variable. Okay, now there are three variables. So y dash you take, then z you take, right? Y dash and z you take, perform AND operation and find out what it is. Then finally you take x and this recent result. Then now you got this result. This column you take, this column you take this column and this column and perform the OR operation. That will give you f1. So this is a way you are getting f1. So here it is directly given. I taken from the textbook, and you verify are you getting this or not. Okay. Now there is another function given, that is your f2. So this is a little bit bigger expression. So what you have to do? You have to calculate everything. You have to find out what is x dash, what is y dash, different columns. Okay. Then what is x dash, y dash, perform AND operation. Then that result perform AND with z. Okay. So how to find out this? First you find out x dash, then you find out y dash, then you find out what is x dash dot y dash, then you find out what is this result dot z. Okay, like that many columns will be added. Similarly, x dash y z, x y dash, and finally perform. First you can, I mean what we know is binary operations we saw, right? So you perform an OR operation between this term and this term, then that result OR with this term. Okay, so like that you will get the final answer. Okay, that's all. So the final answer is given, that you can verify. And there is one more thing. This f2 can be simplified like that. Okay, this simplification we will see in detail. Okay, after that you come back and you can see that this bigger expression is actually this very small expression. And how this simplification is done, the next video I will be giving for that. We will see some standard examples, and then you will be able to simplify any bigger complex expression. Okay, that I will do in a systematic way. So don't worry about the steps right now. Okay, after finishing that video, come back and see, are you able to do this simplification like this, right? Now this is your f1, right? How you can implement a function using a circuit, and an overview is given. So it's very simple, right? You know, I think you are now not familiar with the notations, right? Let me tell you quickly. This AND gate is having a standard notation. So this is your AND gate, okay, and this is your OR gate, okay, and this is your NOT gate. So we have three physical devices as of now: AND gate, OR gate, and NOT gate. So AND gate, it's look like this. So this is a notation. Okay, draw like this. Two inputs will be there, and one output will be there. Input and output you can give anything, and this is your AND. Now OR gate, just use this kind of a diagram. Okay. So here instead of straight line, some curve will come, and this kind of a shape. Yeah. So this is standard notation. And OR NOT gate, straight line, something like a triangle, and then a bubble here. For NOT gate, there is a single input, right? Some x will be coming, and you know it's going to give you the complement, that is not, right? X dash will come out. But these two things are binary things. So here the output will be something like x plus y. Here the output will be something x dot y. Okay. Now the gates are familiar to you. Now using gate, we are trying to implement this x plus y dash z. So what we can do is, first you will be calculating, you know, you hope you remember the precedence also. That will help you a lot, because the out of the operation, the highest precedence goes to bracket. If bracket is there, that will get the highest precedence, but in the expression bracket is not there, then NOT will get, the all unary operator will get higher precedence than binary. So that is a general rule in C and all, you know that, right? So that we can assume here also. Then AND operation will get the precedence, then OR gate. Okay, so that is a precedence order, and at top we have bracket also. So here we will be evaluating the NOT operation first. So in this expression only one NOT operation is there, that is our y dash. So calculate it first. So give that y as input to the NOT gate. So the NOT gate will be giving you as output what, let me use different color, this y, this gate will give you y dash. Okay, now this y dash and z I have to perform AND operation. So next I will use an AND gate, right? AND gate, this y dash is one of the input and z is the other input, right? This line is containing z. So together this AND gate is going to give you y dash dot z. Okay, fine. Now finally I have to perform the OR operation. This result, that is this y dash z, I want to OR perform OR operation with this x. This line is containing x, right? So the final result will be our f1, that is nothing but x plus y dash z. See, it's very simple, right? Once you know the Boolean algebraic expression, the task is here simplification of the expression. So we will see this. See our f2 simplification we are going to discuss only, but in the previous slide we saw two different expression for f2. Hope you remember. So both are f2 only, right? This expression actually we same thing equivalently we transform to this. What is going to do this circuit? The same thing will be done by this also. Okay, so both are equivalent only. So from going from here to here, some of the previously studied theorems as well as postulates we will make use of them, and we will see that procedure systematically. So that is why I skipped it at this point. After that you can see how this can be transformed to this kind of a smaller expression. Now once you get this transformed expression, what benefit you are having? See, for this one, as the expression is very big, see the circuit is very complex. Okay, now when I reduced the size of this expression, when I reduced here this variable x is involved, right? Then x dash is involved, y is involved, y dash is involved, z is involved, z dash is involved, and these things are what we call as a literal, right? Literal means a variable, or it's in the pure form or in the complemented form. So that is what is a literal. And now definitely as it is a 3 variable function, you can think of some 6 different literal, and all these literal may or may not present in an expression. And your intention is always try to minimize the expression in such a way that the number of literals is small. So try to reduce the number of literals. Automatically the expression will be simplified. So when you reduce the number of literals, right, so this is the, in a more standard way, let me write. So what is this? This is the minimized or simplified expression. Expression or function, all are same. Right, you know why I am calling it as a function. That reason you know right now. Minimized or the simplified expression with the less number of literals. That is what makes the expression minimal. So the circuit is very small, right? I am getting a very less complex, very small circuit. Okay, I don't know how to write it. So that's all. So that is the beauty of simplification. So that is what we are going to see in the next video. So now you know how to transform this expression to this kind of a circuit, right? That also very easy. See, focus. First you have to, so in this expression, x dash is there, y dash is there. So find out them first. Z dash is not involved, so no need to find them. So x you take, you are getting x dash using NOT gate. Y you take, you are getting y dash. You don't have to take z dash because it is not used in the circuit. Then I need to do AND operation, so that you can do in any order. So here they are using AND gate with so what we seen so far is binary AND with the two inputs. Some x and y is given, and it is going to give you x dot y. Now we can generalize it also. Such circuits are available, ready-made circuits are available, where this AND gate will take 3 inputs, so that it will give an output, that is x dot y dot z. But actually how to do it using binary AND, that you can think of. First the same thing, if I want to implement using a binary AND, 2 AND gate I have to use, like first x and y, then z, like this, and finally I will get x dot y dot z, like, right. So this you can avoid this complexity, otherwise circuit will be very complex. You can directly use a 3 input AND gate. You can see that this is a 3 input AND gate, this is a 3 input AND gate, but this is just a 2 input AND gate. Let me write like 3 input AND gate. 3 input AND gate, that's all. AND gate. This also a 3 input AND gate. But here I am using only a 2 input AND gate. 2 input AND gate may be used for this x y dash, right? You can see that. So what are all the input? One of the input is say from here, this is your y dash, right? This is your y dash line. I am taking a connection from there. So this is your y dash, and this is your x. This is your x y dash. So here I am getting the output x y dash. And similarly, other cases you just verify, and finally that F2 is generated. When the circuit is simple, accordingly made. So you should know how to draw this circuit diagram. That is very important. Try to draw in a so don't make it complex. So level by level you proceed. First you can see that all the NOT operation, unary operation will be evaluated. So that will come at the first level. Then binary, that itself there will be AND logic. All the AND operation, if it is used in the circuit, do it. Then to the next level, go for the OR operation. So here we actually followed the precedence order. The NOT gates, then AND gates, then OR gate. Like that we proceeded, right? Okay, that's all. So every time if you practice it, the circuit will be very looking good. Otherwise, and also this is a way, only this way you can do it. You can't do OR operation before AND operation, right? The result of AND operation, you have to wait for the OR operation. Or also here we see we are using 3 input OR gate. See, 3 input OR gate we are using. So you can see that here this OR gate, this expression, and this expression, all of them are there. So together I am making it. Okay, clear. So I'm just making this, maybe I will be giving you this annotated PPT, and that time you have to read it, right? It has to be readable. 3 input. Yeah, thanks for watching. In the next video we will continue with the simplification concept, that we will go in a systematic way, so that after some few examples you will be able to do it by yourself. Okay, thanks for watching.